Have you ever dreamed a dream so strange that when you woke up, your heart was still pounding as if it had once been real? A cobblestone path unfamiliar yet haunting, a familiar face you have never met, a deep sorrow without a clear origin. You wonder, was it just imagination or an echo from another life you once lived? In today's video, we will embark on a special journey, a journey to unlock memories that do not belong to this lifetime. You will understand what really happens during a past life regression session, why some memories are so powerful they can change a person's entire life, and whether you are ready to discover yourself from a completely new perspective. Imagine a quiet afternoon. You sit on a soft chair in a room bathed in warm light. A practitioner sits across from you, their voice slow and gentle like a whispering breeze. You close your eyes, following each breath, and then a strange image begins to appear in your mind. You are walking across a vast field wearing old, worn clothes, dust clinging to your shoes. Your hands are the hands of someone else, rough and calloused. You look up and feel the sunlight of a century long forgotten. Emotions surge, longing, regret, a vague yet achingly real sense of loss. It is no longer imagination. You have crossed the fragile doorway between the present and past life memories. That journey is not just about remembering, it is a path to deeper self-understanding, to healing invisible wounds, and sometimes to reshaping the entire life ahead. So what truly happens during a past life regression session? How can you tell the difference between imagination and true memory? And why, even in a fleeting moment, can a past life memory transform an entire person? Let us discover together. There was a time in my life when a quiet question began to echo inside me. It was not loud or urgent. It was soft like the wind at dusk, almost easy to ignore. But the more I went about my days, the more it stirred. Have I been here before? Not just in a city or a room, but in this very life itself, in some other form. It began with small things, a strange familiarity with places I had never visited, a deep fear of oceans even though I had never once nearly drowned. And then the dreams started, dreams of a life that was not mine, dreams that carried the weight of another existence. I wondered, was this simply my imagination spinning tales in the night? Or was there something more? Curiosity led me deeper. I started reading about past life regression. Scientific studies written by researchers like Dr. Ian Stevenson fascinated me. He had gathered over 2,000 cases of children who remembered past lives. Many of them recalled specific details that could later be verified. Names, places, events they had no way of knowing otherwise. Still, I remained skeptical until one night during a meditation. Something shifted. It felt as if a door inside me creaked open just a little. I saw flashes, a dusty village, a child chasing goats under a burning sun, a marketplace filled with languages I could not understand but somehow did. It was not like a normal dream. It was a feeling as real as my own heartbeat. The emotions, the smells, the vividness. Science calls this the subconscious mind, accessing deep memories. Some say it could simply be imagination, confabulation. Yet when you feel it inside your chest, when your hands tremble with emotions tied to a life you never lived, it does not feel fake. At first I resisted. I tried to rationalize it, file it away neatly under strange dreams and overactive imagination. But something inside me had changed. The fears I carried began to make sense. The old emotional wounds I could not explain. The longing for places I had never seen. And with that understanding came a kind of peace. I was no longer just the sum of my experiences in this lifetime. I was a story unfolding across many lifetimes, each chapter leaving its mark, each life weaving into the next. It did not matter anymore whether science could fully explain it. What mattered was how deeply it touched the soul. The small lesson I learned was this. Sometimes, truth is not something we measure in a laboratory. It is something we recognize in the quiet spaces of the heart. Now that we have opened the doorway to what might lie beyond simple imagination, the real question becomes, what exactly happens when someone steps into a past life regression session? What What do they see? What do they feel? And how can such memories alter the course of their lives? Let us walk deeper into the journey. In the next part, we will explore the 5 most common experiences people report during a regression session. Experiences that may feel strangely familiar to your own soul. There is something both humbling and awe-inspiring about stepping into a regression session. It is not like flipping through a book of memories. It is more like falling into the pages themselves, becoming the story you had long forgotten. Through my own journey and listening to others who have walked this path, I have noticed 5 common experiences that surface again and again, each one a thread in the mysterious fabric of our many lives. The first and perhaps most startling experience is the vividness of it all. You do not just see an old stone street or a flickering torch on a wall. You smell the smoke. You feel the roughness of the stones under your bare feet. You hear distant voices, laughter, or cries carried by the wind. It is as if the senses awaken to a memory the mind had long buried. And in that moment, the past feels as real as the present. The second experience is more subtle, but no less powerful. It is the sudden rush of emotion, a deep sorrow for someone you do not know, a fierce love for a face you have never seen, grief that seizes your chest, joy that lifts you off the ground. These emotions do not feel imagined. They rise from a place deeper than thought. They are echoes of the heart. They're from a time long gone, but never truly forgotten. Many people, myself included, have encountered souls we know today, but wearing different faces. A friend, a parent, a lover, appearing in a different body. A different life, yet the connection, that invisible thread, is undeniable. It leaves you wondering, how many times have we found each other across the ages? How many promises have we carried through lifetimes? Sometimes, a regression session brings forth a memory of trauma, a moment of fear, loss, or even death. Other times, it recalls a moment of triumph, a birth, a reunion, a hard-won victory. Both kinds of memories are intense. Both are valuable because they show us the roots of patterns, the hidden reasons behind the way we live. Love and fear today. And then there are the body memories, the strange sensations that arise without warning, a tightness in the throat when recalling a hanging, a sudden ache in the back during the memory of carrying heavy loads, tears streaming without sadness, a cold shiver across the skin. Science might say it is the subconscious mind speaking through the body. But when you feel it, you know it is something deeper than logic can explain. Each of these experiences teaches us something vital. That memory is not confined to the brain alone. It is woven into the heart, the body, and the soul. To remember is not just to think, it is to feel, to embody, to honor the many stories we carry within. Now that we have glimpsed what can awaken during a regression session, it is important to clear away some common myths and misunderstandings, because the journey of remembering is delicate and often misunderstood. In the next part, we will explore 3 major misconceptions about past life regression, beliefs that often cloud the true magic and healing potential of this work. Stay with me. The deeper we go, then the clearer the light becomes when you step into the world of past life regression. It is easy to carry along the baggage of expectation. Stories we have heard, assumptions we have made, hopes we hold without even realizing. I carried them too, like invisible weights on my shoulders, until the journey itself taught me something different, something deeper. Let us look together at 3 of the most common misconceptions that often cloud this path, and maybe, by seeing them clearly, we can walk a little lighter. I used to believe this, that if my past lives were real, they would simply unfold before me like a movie. Clear, vivid, immediate, but the truth is softer, more patient. Sometimes memories come in flashes, sometimes in emotions without images, sometimes in a simple knowing that has no words. The mind, with all its logic and skepticism, needs time to trust, to loosen its grip on the present long enough to glimpse the eternal. Past life memories are not prizes to be seized. They are gifts, and like all true gifts, they come when the soul is ready. It is easy to fall into this trap, to believe that every vision, every detail, must match some historical record to be real. But memory, especially soul memory, is not a photograph. It is a language of symbols, of emotions, of impressions layered over time. Sometimes a desert in your vision may represent a time of loneliness. Sometimes a crowded marketplace might echo a life of chaos. The deeper truth is not always in the literal image. It is in the feeling, the lesson, the echo it leaves behind. Trust the message, not just the picture. For a long time, I thought past life work was reserved for mystics, for those who meditated on mountaintops or spent years in silent retreat. But the more I walked this path, the more I realized this journey belongs to everyone. You do not need to be a guru. You do not need special powers. You simply need a heart that is willing to listen, a spirit that is willing to remember. We are all ancient travelers, carrying countless stories within us, waiting for the quiet moment when we are ready to hear them. The lesson here is simple but profound. Approach your journey without heavy expectations, without the rigid maps drawn by others. Enter with curiosity, gentleness, and wonder, because the memories that truly matter will find you when you are ready to receive them. Now that we have cleared away some of the illusions, we can move closer to the true heart of past life work. The healing, the transformation, the way forgotten memories can gently and powerfully reshape our lives. In the next part, we will dive into real stories of healing through past life regression. Stories of fear undone, love remembered, and souls reborn. Stay with me. The real journey is only just beginning. There is a moment in every journey when memory stops being just a story and becomes a doorway, a bridge between who we were and who we can still become. Past life regression, at its heart, is not about entertainment or curiosity alone. It is about healing. Deep, quiet, life-changing healing. Let me share with you the stories that stayed with me the most. Stories that remind us all how powerful remembering can truly be. Sarah was a woman who had lived her entire life with a crippling fear of water. Pools, lakes, even the gentle lapping of waves at a beach filled her with terror she could not explain. In a past life regression session, guided carefully and slowly, she saw herself as a young boy in a small fishing village. There had been a storm, a boat overturned, and she remembered the feeling of slipping under, the weight of the sea pulling her away. When she awoke from the session, tears streamed down her face. But something had shifted. Over the months that followed, her fear began to soften. She could walk near water, feel the breeze from the ocean, and instead of panic, she felt a deep, gentle sadness and acceptance. It was as if the memory, acknowledged and honored, had finally let go of her heart. David grew up resenting his father, an anger he could never fully explain. It burned even in moments when nothing seemed wrong. In a regression, David found himself in a life centuries ago, where he had been a soldier, and his commanding officer, harsh, unforgiving, was the soul who now lived as his father. He saw the long line of unmet expectations, the weight of duty, the deep need for approval that never came. But he also saw, behind it all, tired eyes of a man who had been carrying burdens of his own. David wept, not from anger, but from understanding. After the session, he reached out to his father, not with expectations, but with compassion. Their relationship did not become perfect. Life rarely looks that way, but it became real. And that was everything. and it always felt small, invisible, as if her voice did not matter. During a regression, she found herself standing tall, a near-death, a healer in a village, a woman people sought for wisdom and comfort. She saw the respect in her eyes, felt the strength in her own voice, and the certainty in her hands. When she returned to the present, she carried a piece of that power with her, a memory that became a seed, and slowly, she began to speak the truth, to trust her path, to remember that she had been, and always was, worthy, healing through past life. Regression is not about erasing the past, it is about embracing, understanding the echoes that still ripple through our hearts, and choosing to walk forward with greater clarity, still greater compassion, greater courage. Sometimes, to move ahead, we must first honor the footsteps we left behind. And now, as we feel the quiet power of these transformations, a new question arises. Is past life regression right for you? What should you know before you open that door for yourself? In the next part, we will talk about the important questions you should ask. The things to consider before taking your first step into remembering. Stay with me. Your own journey may be closer than you think. There comes a moment after hearing the stories, after feeling the quiet stirring within, when the question turns inward. Should I try this for myself? It is not a question to rush. It is a doorway, and every doorway deserves a moment of stillness before stepping through. If you are feeling that pull, that gentle nudge in your heart, here are some questions to sit with, questions that can guide you deeper into your own truth. Ask yourself, am I seeking entertainment? Am I chasing proof? Or am I genuinely curious about my own soul? The clearest healings, the deepest transformations, come not from wanting to be amazed, but from a quiet longing to understand, to heal, to grow. If your heart whispers, I want to know myself more deeply, then you are already halfway there. Past life regression is not always about beautiful visions and comforting memories. Sometimes it brings up sorrow, regret, old wounds that never fully closed. Are you willing to sit with what arises, without judgment, without turning away? Healing begins not by changing the memory, but by embracing it with compassion. Be honest with yourself. There is no shame in waiting until you feel ready. Choosing who holds space for your journey is sacred. Look for someone who approaches regression with humility, with care, with a deep respect for the soul's timing. Trust is everything. A good guide does not push, does not interpret every image for you. They simply walk beside you, holding the lantern as you find your own way. Ask questions. Listen to your instincts. Honor the sacredness of your journey before stepping into a regression session. Remember, you are not searching for something you lack. You are rediscovering something you already carry within you. The journey is not about becoming someone new. It is about remembering who you have always been. And sometimes, the remembering itself is the greatest healing of all. We have traveled far together today, across the echoes of old lives, through the tender spaces of memory and heart. As we come to the close of this journey, there is one final truth I would love to leave with you. You are a story, long and beautiful. Though still unfolding, stay with me as we gather the last few threads and weave them into something whole. As we come to the end of this journey, I invite you to pause with me, just for a moment, and listen, not to my words, but to the quiet stirring within your own heart. Maybe something we explored today awakened a memory, a feeling, a knowing that had been waiting for your attention. Or maybe it simply planted a small seed, a whisper that says, there is more to you than you ever imagined. And that alone is enough. Past life regression is not about escaping the present. It is about deepening it, honoring the unseen threads that weave your story, and realizing you are so much more than a single chapter. You are ancient. You are becoming. You are a bridge between all that has been and all that is still yet to be. If there is one truth I hope you carry from this time together, it is this: your soul remembers. Even when your mind forgets, Your soul carries the wisdom of 1,000 journeys, and every step you take today is connected to the footsteps of who you once were. There is no rush, there is no race, only the unfolding in its own perfect time. Thank you for walking this path with me today. For opening your heart, for being willing to wonder if you feel called to explore more or to share your own stories of remembering. I would be honored to continue this conversation with you. Until then, trust your journey, honor your soul, and never forget, you are the living memory of countless beautiful lives. And this life is your next great story. Your soul remembers. Trust its voice.